Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. Ginette Biro here. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I will always say how much I truly appreciate each and every one of you who check out the show and, ask questions that lead to podcasts or comments or things like that. I love it. I appreciate you. And I'm excited to dive into some messages from Spirit. So these are some, I don't think I want to say urgent messages, but key considerations for the holiday season. It was funny, as I was driving my kids to school this morning, my guides were like, can you pass on some thoughts? It's almost like passing on a message. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And in doing so, though, I really hope that this inspires you to be your best self over the holiday season, however you celebrate. And when I say inspires you to be your best self, I really mean something in the way of you giving yourself the freedom to be your most authentic self. That's how I really would like to state it. So that's my intention for you. Now, I do want to say too that I will not be posting a podcast next week. Next week is Boxing Day, and I'm going to take that week off in prep, or the week off from prepping for podcasts and all that kind of stuff. So today will be the last podcast with you for 2022, because after that, on January 2nd, that's going to be all different kinds of predictions and insights from my guides for 2023. So that's going to be a really good one. But let's talk about these messages. And I want to say one of the key themes that we had in 2022 that really brings us to these messages that I'm talking about is embodiment. 2022 was a year of embodiment. And if you want to know more about that, also dive a little deeper into the review of the year and kind of where things are going as well, definitely check out the Cosmic Consciousness Circle on December 21st. The solstice too, so we're going to be honoring that as well as talking about 2022 and 2023. So you can check that out on avalonspirit.com. But one of the biggest things was embodiment. How do you embody who you are, who you want to be? Maybe aspects of your higher self, your past lives, your gifts and abilities. How are you embodying it? Meaning you're not just thinking and hoping you can be, but you are being it. So embodiment. Now, with that in mind, embodiment, one of the first messages that my guides wanted to share is the concept of soul purpose. And I have 5 different points to share. So the first one being soul purpose. And the concept of that is, for so many of you that have been doing the work, especially in the embodiment phase of 2022, you are stepping into soul purpose work, meaning something exciting is on the horizon if you continue to follow your heart and your passions. Things are looking up. The energy of 2023 is really set to work in favor of those that have been doing a lot of the work, meaning helping to bring key alignments into place. Some of you may already be noticing that. It doesn't mean that it starts just on January 1st, 2023, but we're in that energy, and that energy of 2023 is going to make that very favorable for those that have made the space to do so. So soul purpose, meaning exciting things on the horizons. If you follow your passion, follow your heart is guiding you in the right direction. And that can be in your job, in your romantic relationships, in your personal relationships, in your relationship with yourself, that being a huge, huge, huge one. So, exciting things on the horizon connected to soul purpose. Now, one of the things that's really important, though, to bring that into balance is point number 2, is catching when you fall into a state of victim mentality. So, this is something very easy for us to do in this incarnated human form, is to fall into victim mentality, because we are born into an experience of big emotions. That's natural. So victim mentality can be a natural reaction. When something bad happens to us, we have a reaction to it. Ouch, that hurts, either physically or emotionally or mentally. we can acknowledge that and we can honor that. But the key is with a victim mentality, as I understand it, is not getting stuck in that. So we definitely need to feel our feelings, acknowledge our feelings, but then comes a point where we need to choose what we're going to do now because of those feelings. And that's where we can really kind of, avoid the trap of victim mentality. And one of the key things that really helps with that is like learning to understand that everything is kind of happening for you to learn something. And we've talked a lot about this with cycles, with karmas completing, all of that kind of stuff. We get to complete a karma when we've learned everything we needed to learn from a soul's perspective from that experience. So consider that when you feel like you're being kind of pulled into that victim mentality. I still sometimes feel that pull too. And there's sometimes I can catch it really quick and be like, oh, okay, hold on. Let's switch to gratitude. Let's switch to what am I learning now? What is my perspective? And there's sometimes I really need to kick my own butt to get out of there. I have to be like, come on, Ginette, smarten up. Let's get ourselves together. No more victim mentality. Like there's the all of that experience, right? Like, and I think that's something that's really worth saying because we don't have to be perfect on our journey. We don't have to perfectly navigate and never fall into victim mentality. We're going to feel it. If we feel emotions as we should and acknowledge emotions as we should, we're going to feel that pull to victim mentality, and that's normal. But the key piece is to catch that, turn it into conscious choice, and then essentially say, are you or am I consciously choosing to be in a victim state, or am I consciously choosing to not be? That's where the onus becomes yours, and that's where you get to change it. That's where your power is. So that being said, Spirit was saying with things that may come up over the holidays, for some people the holidays can be equally beautiful but equally painful. Maybe they've lost a loved one. Maybe they've lost a relationship. Maybe they have traumas from earlier years. Maybe whatever. The thing is to catch it and choose how you wish to experience the holidays this year. How do you want to feel? What are you going to choose to do? Who are you going to choose to be around? That is all your conscious choice. And that helps you step out and away from the trap of victim mentality and keep you in the right vibration so that you really are open to the soul's purpose that is on its way to you, those exciting things on the horizon. So something to keep in mind. Now, number three is when connecting with that victim pull, right? When we're standing at that crossroads of like, are we going to take the victim route or are we going to take the conscious choice route? Is try and take a moment to catch yourself to rise above the current situation. When you can rise above and put on a different lens or perspective, sometimes you can learn something totally new that allows you to actually totally let it go or take it off that sense of it being all around you and kind of put it on this metaphorical shelf beside you. You know how sometimes things trigger us and we think like we're lost into the abyss of that trigger. We can actually, if we rise above it, try seeing it from a different lens. Like I'll actually sometimes visualize taking off a pair of glasses and putting on a new one and see, what do I see now? And oftentimes that'll show me something new, and then I can grab that new piece of information and then transmute what I'm experiencing and move through it more consciously, right? So consider rising above to gain clarity on the current situation. And sometimes that clarity will really lead to compassion for the thing. Usually that thing in this kind of situation means a person, right? So if there's somebody that triggers you over the holidays, if you rise above and look through a different lens, sometimes you might see their perspective of, what they're dealing with, what causes them to act that way. And if you see it from the high perspective, you realize it has nothing to do with you. It's actually a trauma that they had. And maybe the trauma was because they felt abandoned. And if you, instead of reacting with equal energy, chose to interact with compassion and love and hold space, then that might even help trigger their healing or trigger their awareness. Or if nothing else, it'll show you your ability to consciously choose in a moment and how much that can change any situation. That is a gift of yours to use at any point. So consider rising above. Now, the next one is over the holidays as well. Spirit is saying, this is number 4, consider the balancing act. So sometimes we get this time off or this time over the holidays and we fill it with being super busy, super busy, having to do this, that, and whatever. They're saying, what if you also, over the holidays, took time to find balance? Whatever that may be for you. What does that look like for you? That essentially, when we're given these opportunities of time off or family reunions or time to, not be in the work schedule or something like that, find balance. Enjoy and, be grateful for the rest time. Be grateful for the time to sleep in the morning, or maybe you get up in the morning and you do some yoga where normally you'd be eating breakfast and running off to work. Find where you can find balance. As well, that also goes for if you find your holiday schedule is jam-packed and you know it's going to wear you out. What if you were to look at it and then consciously choose which ones or things, events, you want to be a part of and set some boundaries in there so you can have some balance. That's going to be another key piece of 2023 is bringing balance back. And what does balance look like to you? And so for many of us that do have some downtime over the holidays, consider what does balance look like to you. Now, for some people, balance may be, in fact, diving into all the family events, all the Christmas events, holiday events, because it brings you so much joy and it fills your cup. If that's the case, well, then that's perfect, right? You are in a cup-filling season. For others, it's setting boundaries on certain things and having that downtime, having the time to sit by the fire, read a book, listen to music and enjoy the moment, revel in that moment, right? Or finding time to make sure you go outside and play in the snow and then come in and make the fancy hot chocolate that you love to have and have all the pieces for it. So when you put it together, you're putting it together with love and you're serving it with love. You're bringing in that balance piece, and what that looks like is different to everybody. But Spirit's saying, consider your balance. You don't have to run yourself ragged over the holiday season, because again, when we are really tired and depleted, that pulls us from our highest vibrational energy, pulls us more easily into a victim mentality if we're triggered by something. I mean, honestly, if we're in a really balanced energy and harmony of self and our purpose and our place in the world, and that doesn't even mean we have to have it all figured out, but it just means we feel a place of balance. We may not even be triggered in the first place. You may be amazed at how harmonious you can feel through all the things. And then your whole experience of the holiday season actually is so different because your perspective is different, because you're more balanced, because you've taken the time for self. And now you're in such amazing alignment. You are bringing through these amazing synchronicities for your journey forward. Energy is so key in how we move through things. Now, the last thing I want to say, the last point Spirit said, is that there are many changes happening in relationships right now for a lot of people. And the reason why is fine-tuning your, they're saying, I love when they pop in and they're talking in my ear. My guides are saying, fine-tuning your soul family, making space for them to come into your life, to merge and essentially harmonize with you. So some relationships have to change, some may end, some may deepen and awaken this soul family piece. So just notice how things seem to be changing, but allow space for the changes to occur. Nothing has to be forced. If you're really sitting in that energy of alignment or working towards alignment, watch how the universe helps to change things in your favor. And sometimes that is through our relationships. And so that seems to be another key theme. And again, that can be a deepening of relationship for many of you. So you may find you and your friend, you and your partner, you and your child have this real deepening of a connection over the holidays. And you're kind of like, where did that come from? That's a beautiful alignment of frequency, because energy speaks, and we're going to see so much of that in 2023. So again, consider your soul purpose, where victim mentality is catching you, where you maybe need to rise above to keep your energy higher. Consider the balancing act, the intake of energy and the output of energy, and then also how your relationships and friendships are changing, but in favor of your highest alignment. So I will leave this with you guys for now. I hope this helps you kind of maneuver the holiday season with joy in your heart, a lightness, a happiness, a purpose, because you matter. You're here on this planet right now because you matter. You survived 2022, deep diving into a lot of aspects of self. That is an amazing feat. I give you so much credit for that. And we're stepping into an energy in 2023 that's going to be very interesting and it's going to be different. So I'm so looking forward to talking about that on January 2nd. So definitely check back in for the podcast then. I hope you guys have a beautiful holiday season with your families. And I will see you in 2023. All right, everyone, all my love. Take care.